Conversing with other centuries is almost like traveling. Reverence is the inclination of the soul not only to respect the object of veneration, but also the desire to obey him with a certain trepidation, to gain his favor. The majority of votes is not irrefutable evidence in favor of truths that are not easily discoverable, for the reason that an individual person rather than a whole people will come across such truths. Most books are such that after reading a few lines and looking at a few figures, you already know everything about them, so the rest is put in these books just to fill the paper. In most disputes, one mistake can be noticed. While the truth lies between two defended views, each of the latter moves away from it. The further away, the more fervently it argues. Great people believe that there is no greater evil than the cowardice of those who cannot endure trouble with firmness, and although they hate vices, they do not hate those who are subject to these vices, but have only pity for them. Define words correctly and you will free the world from half the misunderstandings. Give me matter and motion and I will create the world. In order to improve the mind, one must think more than memorize. If fate endows someone with benefits that he really does not deserve, and when envy awakens in us only because, loving justice, we are angry that it was not respected in the distribution of these benefits, then this envy can be excused. Envy finds its justification, if only malice refers to the distribution of goods, and not to those who possess them or distribute them. Sanity is the thing most justly common in the world. Everyone considers himself so endowed with it that even those who are most difficult to satisfy in any other respect usually do not strive to have more common sense than they have. Of the two human passions, love and hate, it is love that has the greatest tendency to excess. It is more fiery, and therefore stronger and more durable. The more passionately love ignites, the more merciless it is to everything that hinders and threatens it. It gives freedom to hatred to act more than in one direction and thereby frees a whole squad of evils from the shackles. Intuition is the mind of imagination. The true greatness of the soul, which gives a person the right to respect himself, lies most of all in his consciousness that there is nothing else that would belong to him by great right than the disposal of his own desires. Whoever undertakes to give instructions should consider himself more skillful than those to whom he gives them. His slightest error deserves censure. People with a strong and generous character do not change their mood depending on their well-being or their misfortunes. People would not have to be ashamed so easily if they, highly appreciating their personality, would consider the possibility of anyone's contempt excluded. It is not enough to have a good mind, the main thing is to use it well. In the greatest souls lies the possibility of both the greatest vices and the greatest virtues, and the one who walks very slowly can always, following the straight path, advance much further than the one who runs and moves away from this path. You can maintain your independence everywhere, not the place where you live, but the thirst for difference with a lack of character bends one person before another. Haughtiness and generosity lies only in a high opinion of oneself. They differ from each other only in that this opinion of an arrogant person is not based on anything, while that of a magnanimous person is quite fair. We should not doubt what seems to be true, however, we should not take it as immutable, so as not to refute the opinions that we have formed about anything where reasonable evidence requires us to do so. Do not wish for anything that you cannot achieve yourself. Your highest asset is freedom. It cannot make you beautiful, rich, respected, strong and happy in the eyes of the whole world, but can only make you free. It does not make you the master of things, but your own master. They are usually indignant at those who do good or harm to persons who do not deserve it. They envy those who receive some kind of benefit in such cases. The average mortal sympathizes with those who complain more, because he thinks that the grief of those who complain is very great, while the main reason for the compassion of great people is the weakness of those from whom they hear complaints. As the memory is burdened with many facts, the genius and his creative abilities weaken and die out. Whoever has consciousness and self-esteem, they are not afraid that others are smarter than them, more educated or more beautiful. Likewise, they do not consider themselves significantly superior to those whom they in turn surpass, because all this seems to them. The aim of scientific studies should be to direct the mind in such a way that it makes firm and true judgments about all the subjects encountered. The more passionately love ignites, the more merciless to everything that hinders and threatens it, it gives freedom to hatred to act in more than one direction. Reading good books is a conversation with the best people of the past, and, moreover, such a conversation when they tell you only their best thoughts. The breadth of the mind, the power of the imagination and the activity of the soul, this is what genius is.